doing?
Man.
Everything going well?
Yeah,
But I had a good summer.
Yeah, you?
I had a great summer.
Good.
Had a great summer. I was down in Florida for an extended period of time.
Yeah.
You know, went to the beach for a couple of days. So it's been really good. Had a good time. Did my 12th annual fireworks show in my hometown, Lake Butler. You know, so that was great once again. So it's been a really good summer. I spent a lot of time with a lot of family, a lot of friends this time around. So we see some people that I haven't seen in a while. So it's been really good. And my baby boy been keeping me on my toes because now he's up and running. So trying to teach him how to hold the football as we speak right now. He got the running part down. We got to get the ball placement right.
Right. And now you're back, and you look at your depth chart, and you see Will Shipley and Phil Mafah. That's got to be a good feeling.
Yeah, that's a great feeling when you got them two guys. I mean, it is. But I mean, really, that whole room, honestly, you know, from all the stories and you know, being in contact with them weekly, you know, these guys that had a great summer. I think they're eager to get back on the practice field and get out there and get started again, and just really just see where this thing goes. So I'm excited about the whole room being in there. It's another great year for us to be better. As we all know, it's that time of the year when you know all the talking and all the projections and preseason, All-American, all that stuff getting thrown out there. But for our room, none of that stuff matters at the end of the day. Performance matters. You know, at the end of the year, you know what you do on the field is what counts. You know, all the other stuff is what you have done in the past, and we just try to keep them blind. I always tell them we try to keep them horse blinders on, just so that we don't get distracted by all that stuff, and just stay focused on the task at hand. And that's just been the best group that we can possibly be for this team.
Shipley's kind of following in your footsteps a little bit there in his versatility, right? I mean,
yeah, I mean he's very versatile. I mean that was very obvious from you know I guess since high school, honestly, because you know he can return the football, he can catch out the backfield. Obviously, he can run the football. He's very smart. He understands how defense try to play him. You know, so but he's still you know evolving as a runner. You know, because at the end of the day, you don't want to get complacent and think that you know it all. So he's getting better on a daily basis. And then talk about Phil Mafah. I mean, that guy. I mean, he just puts in work. He's very quiet, but he goes to work. He does a great job taking care of his body, and I think he's very poised to have a big year. Honestly, just watching him this spring, just got a different look in his eye. Got a different look in his eye this spring, and it's something that's exciting. So I'm excited about those two guys. And obviously, got the young guys that just got here with Jarvis Green and Jameer Haynes, and just excited to see how those guys do this ball camp.
What about Dominique Thomas? Had a nice spring game, and Keith Adams Jr. had a couple nice runs as well. You have to be pleased with what those guys showed.
Very pleased with what they done this spring. They had opportunity to really try to take advantage of that opportunity that it was given, and they did a great job. So they're still learning. And Dominique, I mean, he's one of those guys that he's almost like a veteran. Honestly, since day one, his work ethic has been top notch. Another guy that does a great job taking care of his body. Puts his all in everything that he does. And then Keith Adams, he's coming along. He's done a great job so far. Really just trying to still learn the whole college thing. To try to take advantage of all that, and obviously not going into a different offense. Really just learning, where to be on each and every play. And the game has gained more confidence than what he was a year ago. So that's always exciting. As a coach, you see a guy that gains confidence over the years. So, like I said, I'm excited about the whole room. It's a great room, great competition, and we'll see how this thing rolls.
Talking about those fresh faces, Jarvis Green, the in-state kid. What's his transition to college been like, and what's just your evaluation of him as a player?
Just like anybody else that comes in, coming off from high school to college is different, because the biggest thing you have to learn about time management. You don't have someone that's holding your hand and telling you when to get up. You have to take a lot of responsibility on yourself now. He done that. He comes from a great family. His mom's a teacher, so he understands the academic aspect of it. Now just starting to get adjusted to the weight training because it's different than what he done in high school. The conditioning is totally different than what he done in high school. So from my weekly updates from Shipley and Mafah, he'd had some good days, and then he had some days that he struggled. But you expect that, considering that he's never been through a weight training like how we have here at Clemson. And then Jameer Saints the same way. He come from a great family. His high school has a great weight program, but the same thing, just still having to adjust to the Clemson weight training because it's totally different. So I've been very pleased with both of those guys. I'm really excited about getting on the field and getting in the classroom with them and kind of just seeing where they at as a player and really not rushing those guys. Really just wanting these guys really just to take it one day at a time. They still trying to learn what building they need to get to, right? So the football stuff, we'll get to that when it's time to get to that. But I really want them guys to really just get adjusted to the college atmosphere right now.
This is more about the trajectory of the running back position. Yesterday in the league, a lot of guys didn't get the bag. But the running back position, the most athletic position, is very integral from pass blocking, catching out of the backfield, and then doing all the running. Why is the position so integral to the sport of football?
I guess you have to ask the GMs and the owners. But if you're a person that's in football, if you ask anybody, if you take that position away, if you take the running back position away, I'm pretty sure it won't be too many successful offenses. I can promise you that. Because guess what? Everybody wants to throw the ball down the field. And you can't throw the ball down the field if you don't have that running back in there picking up that blitzer, that extra guy that comes. So for the position to be, like you say, be valued, it's my ball. My heart breaks for those guys in the NFL, because I'd have been in that arena, and I'd have been one of those guys. You put in all this hard work, you go out and have successful years like these guys that had, and you want to be paid deservedly for what you've done, right? And for those guys not to have that, it's just heartbreaking. But hopefully, over time, that those guys will be able to work out their deals and get to their respective teams, and teams will see how important they are, because every day you're not going to find a Derrick Henry. You're not going to find a Christian McCaffrey, right? You're not going to find an Alvin Kamara. You know what I mean? You're not going to find a Josh Jacobs. Those guys don't just walk around on the streets. You know what I mean? So when you have one of those good ones, like one of those great ones, like some of these teams have, you have to make sure that you're taking care of those guys, because also it sends a message to your locker room too as well, that hey, we're going to take care of our own. So hopefully it changes, but I was already talking to one of the head coaches that comes here at Pro Day. We always talked about it. He always like, hey, listen, the running back position is kind of getting devalued. We got to get this thing back going, because he understands how important that position is to a team. Especially teams that play up in the cold weather. You have to be able to run the football, later in the season. So my heart goes out to those guys, but hopefully they stick together and stay strong and believe in what they believe in and get what they deserve, because they done earned that.
It actually kind of leads into the question I was going to ask, is people think about the air raid offense and they think about, throwing the ball over the field, but Coach Riley really preaches how important the running game is in his offense.
Yes.
Have you seen that to be true in your time with him? And what are the biggest differences, I guess, in his offense and Coach Streeter's last season, be it the tempo or anything else?
You see it. Just been running for a short period of time so far, his offense is, he's very running back friendly. And then you just go and look at TC. I want to say they had a 1,500-yard rusher. So you don't just get 1,500 yards rushing, not running the ball. So it's very friendly in that aspect. Obviously, it's a very tempo offense. You want to play fast, but you want to play under control. And that's the biggest thing that he's preaching. Then another thing is all about repetition. We don't need a zillion plays if we're not doing one play right. So we're big on repetition, making sure that we learning the nuances of just that play, and then we can move on to the next one. So he's been very strategic about how he's installing this screen, being very slow with the guys, not trying to just throw it, not trying to water hose them down with a bunch of plays, but really just honing in on the repetition and really understanding, what the quarterback is going to be looking at. So it's been great, and looking forward to the fall camp and building on the foundation that we set for the spring.
CJ, sorry if this has already been asked, but could you talk about Jarvis Green and maybe what you're looking forward to for him and where you see his ceiling maybe in his first year?
Well, I'm excited about him. He's been great so far from my weekly updates that I've got from my older guys in the room, just asking about him over this last month or so. And just like I said earlier, he'd have had some good days with the training, had some bad days, but you expect that because it's different, it's new to him. But I think, as time goes on, he's going to be right in shape come fall camp when we start up, which is where I need all of the guys to be at. And then I think he has a bright future. He just come in and really just learn, up under those older guys and really just soak up everything. I think he'll be fine. He comes from a great family. He's very competitive, comes from a very successful program down there with Coach Knox at Dutch Fork. So, he comes as a winner. So he knows what it takes to win. He knows the grind that it's going to take. So I'm excited to watch him develop as a player over these next several years.
You've got a player like Will Shipley whose energy dial goes to 11, maybe even 12.
Yeah.
How do you temper that during a game and during practice to make sure he stays level? Because too much energy and too much can be detrimental to the team.
Yeah. I wouldn't say detrimental to the team. I would say, as long as he's not doing anything on the field that's hurting us, like as far as like getting personal fouls and penalties like that, I think the team feeds off his energy. But like you said, I do a good job of, controlling him. He's totally different than how I have to control Mafah just because of the energy and the passion that he plays with, the intensity that he plays with. So I kind of just, I have my way of, letting him, cool off, and then, all right, here we go, let's talk. So, and I think you have to me, as a coach, you have to know every player in your room, so you have to understand, what buttons to push, what buttons not to push, how to calm guys down. So I kind of got a good hand on how to handle old Uno when he getting too high out there. And then obviously, I think Phil Mafah does a great job for him of really just keeping him composed in the meeting rooms and on the practice field and then on the game day. So, but I love it. He's everything that you dream of as a coach. Just the way that he goes about his business, the way that he prepares. The guy's going to go out there and give you everything that he has. He wants to be a perfectionist. He wants to, he kind of have that mindset that, a former player that played here back in the day had, that he want to score every time, and it's great to have him in our room. And he's such a great leader. Does a great job with our young guys, know how to push those guys. So to me, I don't really have to say much because he understands the standard at the running back position at Clemson. And he understands the guys that came before him, the guys that's going to come after him. And he makes sure that everybody in that room is playing up or living up to that standard. So it's great having him in there, and I'm looking forward to having another successful year. And you have two guys that we butt heads. It's not always peaches and cream with us, but at the end of the day, he knows that it comes from a place of love, and we understand that, hey, man, once we come off the practice field, hey, it's over. We're not something that's going to carry over and keep lingering on. We know how to handle our stuff like professionals.
And their personalities are
totally different. Yes, and I think that comes with it. I think everybody, really every guy in my room, their personality is totally different. But you love it because you want different personalities in there. And, Mafah, man, he's more, very calm, very quiet, but has great work ethic. Going to go out there, he's going to, his play going to be phenomenal when he steps on the field. He's going to be kind of like that caring uncle to the younger guys. Like all right, Shipley, he's going to rip him and, get after him. Then you're going to have Mafah come in. He's going to put his arm around him. Hey, I'm going to love you. Everything's going to be all right. That just, Shipley being Shipley. But so that's who Mafah is in our room. So he's like the caring uncle, I would describe, in our room. And then you have, the two freshmen that don't even know probably where Tillman Hall is right now. That's still trying to swim and keep their head above water, trying to figure this thing out right now with Jarvis and Jameers. And then with Dominique and Keith, those guys have been here for a little bit, but they still trying to figure it because it's one of those things where nobody's spared in there, I guess you were saying. Then you have you have Wild Seeger, Kevin McNeil, and Tristan Rigg, and Peyton Strako, who just got here in January. So he kind of understands the lay of the land, but he hasn't been through a fall camp at Clemson. So he's still trying to, I'm pretty sure in his mind he's anxious to kind of see how fall camp operates here at Clemson. So I'm excited, and then with the whole room, it's healthy competition. Each guy understands their role. And that's what you want.
Is there a lot of competition between Will and Phil as far as just like little things like I can do the 40 faster than you, or let's race up the hill faster? Do you see some of that too?
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I mean, they have their little way of having healthy competition, but that's what you love. We try to keep it at a minimum as much as we can. But those guys have their little way of competing with each other, and I think it brings out the best of each other, of them, and that's what you want. And the other guys in the room, they see that, and they gravitate towards that stuff. So it's been great, man, having both those guys in there. I can't believe they already been here 3 years, going into their third year. Time goes by fast, so we're just trying to enjoy the moments that we had together as a group.
What are your
You mentioned
thoughts?
the personalities of Will and Phil, and you even have ways to describe them as the uncle and stuff like that. What's the personality of Garrett Riley from what you can gauge so far, and how you guys gel together?
I mean, he's very, authentic, down to earth. Doesn't come in, with the I know it all attitude. Comes in with, hey, this is what I know as a coach. How can we get this Clemson offense back to what we know it can be? Always ask for input. Know what the standard is. Has a great demeanor. Can relate to the guys very well. And I think the guys are loving. Great communicator. Very clear on his message. So as a coach, man, you love the guy that's the leader of your offense. You love a person like that. So the short stint that we've had together this spring so far, it's been a great transition for him. I'm looking forward to going through a fall camp and then obviously going through the season.
And what do you think is your role to adjust to a new guy leading the ship, and how you guys work together?
Well, I mean, I'm used to it. I mean, it's all about being a professional. When you have an opportunity to play at the highest level, I went through different coaches, had different running back coaches, different head coaches over my career that I had. So I was able to adapt, and that's what you have to do as a professional. You have to adapt and be able to adjust to new things. So to me, that part to me is pretty fairly easy for me to do because I've been in that situation before.
What are your thoughts on having Mr. James Davis back in the fold?
Yeah, I mean, it's been great. It's new for him, and I mean, I'm more excited about him finishing and getting his degree than anything else. Just like I was saying earlier, out of the four guys when we was here with me, him, Andre Ellington, and Jaden Harper, and all three of us have our degrees. So he was the last man. And so I've been on him for the last several years about, hey man, you need to come back and finish. I don't care if you do it at Clemson, I don't care if you do it on campus. But you're the last one out of our little nucleus group that hadn't finished yet. So I'm excited about him coming back and finishing, and he's just gonna be another great set of eyes. I mean, this is a guy that's top 3 rusher all time here at Clemson. So this is not just anybody that when he says something that is just coming from old Uncle Larry over there or something. This guy, he got some weight. He said something. So he's been following. He knows some of the guys in our room. So he's still trying to figure this building out. He's trying to figure out what door to walk through and stuff. So he's a newbie too as well. So I'm excited about having him though. It's great having been around him for an extended period of time since 2008, our last year together as players. So it's going to be a great addition to our room. And like I said, another guy that's going to be able to deliver a message probably differently than how I deliver a message. But we'll be on the same accord with the message.
You anticipate him working heavily with your guys?
Yeah, I would assume that he will be with the running backs. I mean, I don't see James going and being with the tight ends. But he's excited though. He's excited about being back. Pretty sure the fans are fired up about him being back in the building. So we just grateful to have him back in here to be able to finish what he started.
You mentioned how he's having to learn the building, and I was wondering, if you take us back to maybe your visit to Clemson as a recruit as compared to the big summer blowout official visit weekend y'all had this summer, just in terms of facility upgrade, everything to where Clemson was and where it is now. How do you see it?
Well, I guess some of the older people that have been around Clemson a long time could tell you that this was the soccer fields that we're sitting on, I guess, as of today. But I mean, to me, when it comes to recruiting, every guy's different. Me personally, I didn't care about buildings, honestly. I mean, everybody got buildings, right? Everybody's trying to have, and it's great to have those things, and those things are nice, and don't get me wrong. But me personally, that wasn't my primary focus. My primary focus on the people, and not just here in the building, but the people in the community. I grew up in a small town, Lake Butler, so that's what I was looking for in college decision. Clemson fitted that mold. Had Clemson been a big city, who knows? I probably don't come to Clemson because I didn't grow up in a big city. So, each guy's different. I took my visit on Martin Luther King weekend where there wasn't no school. There wasn't nobody on campus besides James Davis and Jacoby Ford and a couple more players. That's it. And so college football just changed since 2006 when I made my decision to come here. Campus has changed a ton over the years, but it's great. We need change. We have to evolve as time evolves. So it's been awesome, and our program is totally different than what it was in 2006. How it is today. So, but at the same time, the message is the same. You go and you recruit great people. Obviously, you want to be great football players, but obviously you want to have great people as well, great young men that you can help develop and go off and have a successful life, not just in football, but just in life in general. So, to me, that stuff doesn't change. All the other stuff, that stuff changes. But, like I say, to me, have this building been great? Yeah, it would have been awesome to being able to be in it. And part of it as a player. But, to me, when I came and went to Mafah, I thought that was the best thing since sliced bread. It was great. To work out at Derby, I thought that was great. Walking down to the practice fields from the locker room, that was great because you got a chance to really talk to your teammates for a extended period of time on that walk back up. You just cherish those memories and you lack onto it, but at the same time, you be grateful for the opportunity that these guys have to have a facility like we have here at Clemson. To me, you really don't have to go anywhere. You have everything here at your disposal. And these guys try to do a great job of taking advantage of that. And everything starts with Coach Sweeney trying to make sure that everything that he does is for the players to make sure that they feel as comfortable as possible. So that they can have a great college experience. So to me, I love that.
See, James a year or two ahead of you?
James, he was a year ahead.
A year ahead? Did he host you when you came here?
Yeah, he hosted me. James was my host. Yeah, him and Jacoby Ford were my host.
So did you and James hit it off from the get-go?
Yeah, we actually, once I left here, we stayed in contact throughout that all the way up to signing day. You can tell that, we were two totally different, kind of how Will and Mafah, two totally different, personalities. He grew up in a big city, and I come from a country town of Lake Park. He's more boisterous, I'm more reserved, laid back. But we kind of meshed on that first day of my visit. We kind of just established our relationship over that time during that recruitment period.
Have you been in contact ever since?
Been in contact ever since. And I think that's the great thing about college, that you're able to develop friendships that's going to last a lifetime. It's something that started back in 2006 when I came on my visit. Still is lovely today that it was back then. But that's the beauty of college, and that's what I try to tell my guys in my room is that, hey man, you want to have a friendship that's going to last a lifetime. Some of these guys going to be in your wedding. Some of these guys going to be there when you have your first child. These guys going to be there when we're going through some adversity. That's the brotherhood. That's the brotherhood that we try to create in our room.
With that said, CJ, what was it like when you heard the news that Brandon wasn't going to be here anymore? When Coach Strader, he wasn't going to be here anymore. He's one of you.
Yeah.
He's a Clemson guy. He's a friend of yours.
Yes.
And at the same time, this is a business sometimes. Yeah. What was it like for you when you heard that news for the first time?
Well, your heart goes out to his family. Because like you say, we had to been in that. I don't want to use military terms. We had to been together a season, and you've seen the grind and the hard work that he puts in that the outside world didn't see. They only seen just what happened on Saturday. But, I was grinding, 24/7 just about, and I seen the hard work that he puts in and how much pride that he took in just because he was a former player, how much pride that he had into this program. When you hear that news that, that he'll no longer be leading the offense, your heart breaks. You're human. You have emotions, and so that was kind of one of the first reactions we had. Coach, when he comes in and explains, you have to trust his leadership. You have to trust his vision, and you just go from there. But, your heart just goes out to Coach Green and his family, and hopefully he can end up on the field, which I know he will. But he's a great person. Outside of all the stuff that you read, man, he's probably one of the best person I've ever been around. Just down to earth. You know, he was always asking about Cade, which is my older son. You know, he was always asking how he was doing. You know, is he walking yet? You know, so him and his wife Ashley was great for to me and my family. And, you know, I wish him nothing but the best.
It's kind of a random question, but I saw Dominique Thomas doing squat, and Will Shipley was right next to him, just like going really, very intense. Somebody messaged and said like, he can have an aneurysm or something. And, I mean, Shipley, in terms of that intensity, like what's the most intense you've seen him, and at what moments? What is it like when he's really ripped?
I mean, what you seen in that clip when Dominique was doing the deadlift with 700 pounds, that's what I see on game day with Shipley. I mean, he's a very intense player. And you have to have some intensity when you play this game. And, you know, he understands that. You know, so my job is to make sure that he understands how to channel that intensity in a good way. You know, because as a player, sometimes it can kind of link on to another play, right? You get done with the series, it didn't go as well as you wanted it to go. It can kind of carry over. So my job is try to teach those guys how to move on. But I love his intent. So what you're seeing in that clip is, you know, what I see on game day or what I see in practice when we're doing a competition against the defense. That's who he is. You know, and so you love that. And the guys, they gravitate towards that, and they know that it comes out of love when he gets onto him. But they know that he'll be the first one to pick up the call if you need something. He'll be the first one to be there if you need to go get a shirt. He'll find a way to try to help you do that. And to me, that's Will Shipley. So, I mean, I wasn't surprised by the intensity and the encouragement when I seen the clip from Shipley. But I mean, it was you've seen all the rest of the running backs that was around Dominique. That's the type of room that we try to develop in there, and that brotherhood of cheering on each other to go out and be great.
Have you ever been around another player, whether when you were a player, a teammate, or another player you coach has that level of intensity, or see the top guy on that?
I mean, he'll definitely be up there. One of the top guys, I would say, with that type of intensity. I would say Fred Jackson, that I played with in Buffalo, was a very intense player. Drew Brees, that I played with in New Orleans, he was kind of that way. You know, when it came to workouts and stuff like that, he was a very intense player. So I'd have been around some guys, but Shipley would definitely be up there, top guys that are, from an intensity standpoint. How I get him to channel it down? I can't give him a secret out there because I'm pretty sure he's gonna probably listen to my interview and he's gonna be like, all right, coach gonna tell me this and try to calm me down. They're gonna try to count him. But now I have my little ways, really, man, to really try to calm him down, to really keep him calm, I guess you would say. You know, sometimes I'll just put my arm around him and tell him I love him. You know, everything gonna be all right. You know, because sometimes that stuff can get, I ain't gonna want to use the word overboard, but it can kind of linger into affecting us in a different, and not a great space from going on to the next place. So I just put my arm around him, tell him I love him, tell him it's gonna be okay, and that hey, we'll move on and we'll go out there and make the next play. So that's kind of one of the ways that I kind of try to keep him calm.
Do you see him advance in that way a lot last year? Because I know like the Pittsburgh drop.
Yeah.
That probably lingered with him.
Yeah, it did.
I
think he'd have grown from that because, you know, just because he knows how much that we practice on that play, and when we called it, everybody knew we got the perfect coverage. We knew exactly what they were going to do, and he just didn't deliver. But I mean, that happens to a lot of great players, you know. So that was a great teachable moment. Like, hey man, I reminded him of 2009. We played Maryland. We had a screen going in it. We literally finished score, and I slipped. And I remember Coach Winnie, he got on to me like, hey man, you can't slip. You're a great player. Like, great players can't do that. But then he came over like, hey, it's okay. I need you to move on to the next play. So I try to remind him like, man, all the greats that had plays where it didn't go their way. It's all about how do you respond after that play. And so I think to me that's kind of where he'd have grown, knowing how to respond if a play doesn't go his way. Because he's such a perfectionist that he want to be great on each and every play, which you love. But when it don't go your way, you got to know how to respond and know how to react when it don't go your way. So he done grown a lot from that, and you know, and I tell him, I mean, we still have all tremendous trust in him to go out and catch any pass that we throw to him. You know, to me, my trust in him catching the football doesn't go down just because of one drop. This guy that made tremendous plays. I mean, I tell him all the time that play against Louisville that we just seen the highlight, him jumping over somebody. That's gonna be an iconic play in Clemson football history. Like nobody probably never do that again in Clemson football history. But he's the one that done it. So it's just little ways like that just to try to just keep him focused and let him know that it's gonna be okay.
Last one for CJ, if anybody has one.
Nobody ain't got one. Last one?
I'll get you one.
Give me
we were
one.
talking about quarterbacks, or we were talking about running backs in the pros and the college. What are the different? How do those roles differ in college and pro football?
From college to pros? Well, I mean, the biggest difference is that these guys, guys in pros, they don't have study hall and tutors and all that compared to a college guy. So they have more time on their hand compared to a college quarterback. You know, up there, everything is about, the mental game. So watching film is all those quarterbacks do. I remember being in Buffalo and watching film with Ryan Fitzpatrick on the Tuesday. We getting up there at 10 o'clock, and then, I'm staying there for a couple hours, and he's still there till 7, 8 o'clock that night just watching film because as a quarterback, you got to know what everybody's doing, right? That just comes with the job. And so I think that's where the difference comes between the college quarterback and the NFL quarterback. If those guys up there, they don't have to worry about going to class and, no NCAA rule from how much time you can be on the practice field. NFL, you can practice as much as you want to practice. You can watch film as much as you want to watch film. So I think that's kind of the separator. And then the game's just a whole lot faster up there in that arena, right? So those guys have to process information very quickly. And to me, if you can learn that early on as a player, it'll help you once you get up there. And that's kind of some of my message that I tell not our quarterbacks, but some of my running backs. Hey, if you can learn this stuff now, when you if you have the opportunity to go up there to the NFL, it just become like clockwork for you. Because you can't wait till you get there and say, I'm going to start doing this now. Because now you kind of put yourself kind of behind the 8 ball. But eventually you'll catch up, but if you can get a jump start on it, it'll help you.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
All right, thank y'all.